Focus FM, radio for us.
Lovely sound, ladies, by Harry Styles coming through saying, as it was this Friday morning, 18 minutes past 8 right here on 89 FM. Like I promised earlier, you may have seen the posters on social media. She's an award-winning journalist with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in journalism, an entrepreneur in the beauty industry, and now our newly crowned Miss Namibia 2024, who will represent the country at the upcoming Miss Universe due to be held in Mexico. It's been 13 days now. Has it settled in yet that you are our Miss Namibia now?
It's
Good morning.
So crazy, Joe. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Namibia. It's so crazy that you have been counting. I didn't. It's almost been like 2 weeks now. It still hasn't fully set in, but truly for me, it's just like the real work begins now. It's not really about the glam, the glitz and the glam. It's just that true work begins now.
I want to take you back to that night by playing a clip, and I want to find out how you felt in that moment. So just have a listen.
Okay.
Our title holder. Our title holder for the 2024 crown, Prisca Anyolo.
Yeah, no, it still makes my heart jump. Why did you do that? You were so evil. Why would you do that?
So how was that moment for you?
It was nerve-wracking because, you know, I always say this. It's something that you've always wanted, but once it's given to you, you're still in disbelief. So it still came as a shock. I knew it's what I worked hard for. I really wanted it. I'm glad I got it. But back then, when you're holding everyone's hands, like, you hope that it's yours as much as it is your sister's that's standing next to you. So I was just like, you know what, God, whoever the crown, whoever's head that this crown falls on truly deserves it. And I was just happy that, you know, this year was my turn. So.
And this was not your first time taking part in Miss Namibia. You made it to the top 12. It was in 2021.
Yeah.
So what made you come back again this year and say, this year I'm going to give it a try one last time?
I decided to come back because I realized that failure is not a reflection of your efforts or of your worth. And it was such a difficult mindset to get into, but I had to realize that failure is more so part of success. These are the steps that you have to get through in order for you to become successful. And if anything, failure is a really good value. It's a really good feedback value system. So it gets you to realize where you made your mistakes and you either succeed or you learn a lesson. So consider this crown of 2024 a testament to all the lessons learned.
Definitely, you fall, you come back, and you win again. Now, can you tell us about your journey to becoming Miss Namibia 2024 and how winning the crown has impacted you personally?
Truly, it started in 2023. I began training back then already because I knew that in 2024 I wanted to come guns blazing, because if you're going to come back, you need to come back and show no mercy this time, but you also have to come back prepared. And no, truly, I had to, and I wanted to make sure that I was a more refined and determined individual. And I've always had a resilient spirit, but I realized that you have to fine-tune a lot of things, that you're not always perfect, and wherever it is that you feel like you are lacking, work on that. And it's something that you had to do with, you know, a lot of self-introspection. I had to look at myself and see, you know, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses, and to maximize on both, and to make sure that, you know, wherever it is that I may fail, I need to work really hard at it. A lot of times growing up, I am a journalist by profession, but a lot of people told me, you're a really good speaker. And I knew in 2024, I cannot do with good. That is not good enough. I need to be great. And even now, I still get training. I still want to be the best. I still have to work on. So even though you've got the crown, that doesn't mean that you can relax. It only means you have to push harder now. So how it has impacted my life as an individual, not much, because I'm someone who likes to visualize things before they happen. I like to manifest it. So during the competition, even beforehand, I would be sitting in a restaurant and I like to slouch my shoulders usually. Then I would pull it back up and I'm like, Prisca, Miss Namibia, you can't eat like that. And this is something that you tell your brain. And your brain is a very powerful tool. What you tell yourself, you end up believing. So you keep telling yourself you're not good enough and you don't have a really pretty smile. Guess what? That is the energy that you're emanating towards other people. And how do you think they treat you? So how you think about and feel about yourself is how others treat you. So I already had it to put it in my mind that I am Miss Namibia. And if anything, I'm not competing at Miss Namibia. Namibia. I'm competing at Miss Universe. So whenever we did training, I know, I'm only telling people now because now I can share my secrets. But before in our interviews, I never would, dispel the truths and of how we did our training. But every time we did our training, my coaches, all of them would say, you're not answering at Miss Namibia, you're answering at Miss Universe. Miss USA is at your left and Miss Thailand is at your right. Answer the question. And that would put me under so much pressure. But then I realized it paid off in the end because I visualized myself here. And it's happened. I still can't believe it's happened, but it's happened. So yeah.
Definitely. It shows that giving up shouldn't be part of anybody's word form in terms of just continuing, trying again and again and again and again. And you are a testament to that, actually.
Thank
that
you.
The hard work eventually pays off. You cannot want something, you're not putting the work to get it.
Absolutely.
Now, of social causes and issues, what are you passionate about? How do you plan to use your platform to make a difference in society?
I love this question so much because I decided early on that I cannot wait for the crown in order for me to start making a tangible change in my community with regards to pursuing my advocacy and making sure that my community feels the effects of what I am passionate about, which is food security and poverty eradication. So I already knew back then that I cannot wait to be crowned before I start making an impact. That is why when I began Crowning Gardens, this is my project. It deals with implementing self-sustainable gardens in impoverished communities. We've already began one, a soil-based garden in Havana, and I'm super excited because we already set up the foundation. Now it's about to become a full greenhouse garden. The whole point of this is because I realized that we like to give food parcels and food packages and food vouchers to our community members who are suffering. But what happens next week when you're not able to do that anymore? So I wanted to find a solution and rather to, decrease the disparity between those who need and how they can feed themselves. And that's why I decided to focus much more on the element of sustainability. And with regards to this is that let us grow our own food. That's how I grew up. I grew up in Omasati region, Kokathitu Kimona, near Okahao. And what we do there in the village is that we grow our own food. And I never had to lack for anything. I never had to wonder where my next meal was coming from because I could see it out there in the field, and I wanted to implement something that I grew up with in my childhood and bring it into my journey and bring it into my story as Miss Namibia and show Namibians that we can grow our own food. And I've partnered up with Urban Harvest, and they're basically an amazing organization, Namibian company that, utilizes newfound technology in order to farm, because we all know that we are living in a drought-stricken country. So we need to find new ways to be able to grow our own food. And that's why we either use soil-based, aquaponics, or hydroponics garden systems. That's just one solution. And that's where a lot of Namibians brought it to my attention that, oh, you're coming across as the farming girl. And I'm like, oh, that is not the type of narrative I'm trying to dispel here or to give off. But I had to dispel that type of myth that I'm a farming girl. It's just one of the solutions to poverty eradication that I had. Another solution, I am an entrepreneur at heart. Before I became a journalist, I was already doing makeup in varsity, even in Dubai, South Africa, Namibia. That's just something I always had to do for me to get a little bit of extra cash. So I thought, if you want to be able to afford food and you want to be able to afford a better standard of living, you need to have money. And if I also felt the touch of the high unemployment rate when I moved back to Namibia last year and I couldn't get a job, what did I resort to? Makeup. And doing something that I can with my own hands and making money. So that is also another type of route that I'm trying to steer more Namibians into.
I love the fact that you, instead of giving them food, you let them grow their own food. And especially at the time we're finding ourselves with the drought and a lack of food, it's the perfect way to learn somebody how to grow their own food and be self-sustainable at the end of the day.
Absolutely. You get it.
Now, how do you envision empowering and inspiring young women during your reign as Miss Namibia?
I love your question, but I don't want to focus so much on young women. I want to focus on women of all demographics. And let's not also leave the men behind. I think my project helps a huge demographic of Namibians. It doesn't only affect young girls, doesn't only affect young boys, men. It affects people from all walks of life. People can get hungry at any age, any profession, any stage of their lives. You get what I mean? Yeah. And whether it's the elderly, whether it's the young, I hope that my journey proves as a testament to all Namibians out there, regardless of your age or your gender or whatever it is, your religious beliefs, your sexual preference, it doesn't matter. That if you work hard for something and you have a dream in your heart, fight for it. You need to fight for your fairy tale. But also a real winner knows when to quit. So know if something's not working out, but don't ever change your goal, change your tactic. That's what I did. I tried it the first time in 2021, right? And it didn't work out. But the goal remained the same, was to become Miss Namibia regardless of what year it was, but it was to become Miss Namibia. So don't change your dream, don't change your goal, change your tactic. If you can see tactic A, approach A is not working out, move on to tactic B, move on to tactic B, C, D, E, until you get what you want. So that's how I hope my reign inspires a lot of Namibians out there, not only young women.
Most definitely. Break down your goals to smaller goals that will reach your bigger goal at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Now, what are some of the challenges you have faced in your journey, and how have they shaped you into the person you are today and being crowned as Miss Namibia? How have all of those things, like you mentioned, being there in 2021 and coming back, and the steps you took to get to where you are today right now in this moment?
I think my biggest challenge coming back to Miss Namibia was dispelling the myth of requiring external validation. I realized that my worth and my confidence does not lie in other people's opinions. Rather, it is founded in myself. And my biggest challenge was having to work for my own respect. So when they say you need to have self-confidence and self-respect, I had to work very hard to realize that, Prisca, you are a person worthy of respect, and that I do respect myself. And it's so difficult to take the mirror and turn it to yourself and say, what am I doing wrong and what am I doing right? How can I better my life? That was a pretty huge challenge for me, and I'm glad I overcame it, because now I realize I can overcome anything. And that truly your confidence is not that you feel like you are better than anybody else. It's confidence in having to know that regardless of what comes your way, you can handle it. But that's because you trust yourself and you worked hard to get to that level. So coming back was not easy, but I had to realize that if I listen too much to what other people say and other people's opinions, you will never. There's a very favorite African literature or saying that I love. There's that on your way to a certain journey or destination, if you throw stones at every dog that barks, you will never reach your destination. And that is how I live my life, you know. So I decided I'm not going to throw stones at everyone who says, oh, but you're too short, oh, but you're too fat. Like, you cannot throw stones at every dog that barks at you. You will never reach your destination. So there were a lot of dogs barking. Within the pageant, outside of the pageant, there were lots of dogs barking. She's going back again. She didn't even make it past top 12. I was like, ignore, focus. Isolate your thoughts. Focus on your journey and your dream and your goal. And that's how I made it here.
I love the fact that you mentioned focus.
Hey, focus, they might even catch that. Ooh, okay.
But I love the takeaway in terms of self-respect, self-love. It all starts with yourself. You can't look for those things outside of anybody else, but it has to start with yourself.
Absolutely.
That's lovely. Now, towards the build-up of Miss Namibia, there was a series on your Instagram with different cultures and diversity. So in what ways do you plan to promote cultural diversity, inclusion during your reign as Miss Namibia? You've already started on a very good note.
Thank you so much for acknowledging that. You know, I've always been someone that has been interested in the fashion industry. I tried to be a fashion model, unfortunately wasn't tall enough. Again, external validation. But I was like, I am in a beauty pageantry space. Why don't I mix what I love and what I'm interested in during my Miss Namibia platform? Because I told myself, whether I win or not, I want to make sure that all Namibians are represented within this pageant. And I love that NBC and Miss Namibia already gets that. Like, the fact that we're not always hosting the pageant in Windhoek already speaks volumes. They are trying to be inclusive of everyone from all walks of life, regions and corners of Namibia. So this is something that I've been wanting to do since 2023. But again, funds, resources, you don't know how hard it is to get all the attire and get someone from the culture to, you know, make sure that you are speaking right and wearing it correctly. But these are things that have already, and again, your mind is so powerful. What you think about happens. Then it was during Miss Namibia, we attended an event for Namibre at Drimbos, and we all had to dress up in different cultures. I'm like, this is something I've been wanting to do since 2023. I just didn't have the funds to do it. So, but I was just so happy that, you know what you think about manifests and visualizes and comes into reality. So I plan on continuing to do that, and I realized a lot more people in the international community and spaces are interested in Namibians by what we put out on social media, right? And the fact that I'm so proud to be a Namibian, I decided that this crown is not going to be about me from the very beginning. It's beyond me. It transcends ego. It has to envelop the entire country and the upliftment of all people, because once Namibia is put a spotlight, you know, is shined upon, all of us shine, and then I can also elevate in life. But if it's only just me, no one cares about Prisca. But if you care about the entire nation and all of the advantages and solutions, you know, and positive things that we have about the country, man, we all win. So that's my game plan with regards to cultural inclusivity.
And it came through that night on stage as well. You guys are performing in cultural attire as well. So once more again.
Honestly, I was just like, I'm telling you, whatever you think about, it manifests, it happens. So everything just started happening for me, even without me saying anything to the organization. It was just, oh, you guys are going to be dressed in kavango. I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted to do with my reign. So I'm happy.
You mentioned just a while ago in terms of it's not about you, it's about Namibia, making sure that you tell the Namibian story to people outside of Namibia. So if you had to describe Namibia to someone, how would you describe our beautiful land of the brave to somebody?
I love that you said land of the brave, because we are a nation of very brave people. And I mean that in every spicy sense of the word. Namibians can be very spicy, but the whole reason to that is that we know who we are and we're so confident in ourselves that we don't have to be pretentious. So if you're coming to Namibia, just know that it's a land that will capture your heart and you have to come back. Every tourist I've ever told, whether I was in an international space or I met them over here, once you visit Namibia, you'll have to come back. Most people actually relocate to Namibia, and I'm like, I don't blame you. We have a very vast landscape and very minimal people, and it's a paradise in itself, and it's an undiscovered hidden gem, an oasis that the world does not know about yet. So I think as Namibians, before we get too famous, we need to start appreciating that, we're not that well known yet. Let's embrace that, because soon that's all going to change and everyone's going to flock here and life will not be the same. So let's appreciate the beauty that we have.
Awesome stuff. I want to play you one more clip this morning.
Okay.
Honestly, this is something that I've been looking forward to ever since I was a little girl, but the moment still feels so surreal. It feels unbelievable. I'm so grateful. I'm just full of gratitude, and I feel that my future right now holds what I said I would do in the beginning with my advocacy. So now it proves, my resilience, and is she really going to do what she said she was going to do? So this crown truly comes with a lot of responsibility, and I can only hope that I can make my Namibian people proud.
And this was your very first interview right after being crowned on stage.
I was like, oh, we're doing this here? We're not going backstage. We're going to do this. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So how was that moment for you? Just realizing that what you've been speaking about to yourself, what you've been putting out in the universe has finally come to you in that very moment.
I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. The only thing I kept telling myself over and over again was, don't cry. Don't ruin the makeup, girl, regardless of how you feel. And seeing my family in the audience, like they were the only people screaming for me. Like every time I came out on stage, nobody screamed, only my family. And their voices were so faint. So looking at their faces, I was like, oh my God, the support was so little. But God is powerful. I serve a very big God. So that was just all like, don't cry. We're going to pray about it later. We're going to thank God later. But again, my entire spirit, my entire body was just filled with gratitude.
It's meant for you. It's eventually going to come to you.
Thank you. And it did.
Our last question for this morning. What advice would you like to give to young aspiring girls who want to enter Miss Namibia? The ones that have already been there, that are like, should I really go back? What are they going to say if I come back again? So to those ones that are thinking of entering next year, the ones that want to enter but not sure how to prepare themselves fully, because we know the pageant world is not a very easy place to venture into. You need a lot of self-confidence to go on stage and be part of it.
Make sure your self-confidence matches your budget. And by that, start saving up now. And if you haven't already started, let's just say you want to enter for 2025, you need to begin now. I feel like it's almost, I don't like to believe in it's too late. I don't believe in that concept, but time has already passed. It's already August. If you want to enter Miss Namibia 2025, I hope you have started now. I hope you have gotten your glam team now. I hope you have your mentor, your hairstylist, your makeup artist, your personal speaking training coach, you have your wardrobe stylist. Get your team together now. If you want to come back and you've already been there before, be honest with yourself. Why didn't you make it the first time? Write those things down. Challenge yourself. Challenge your limiting beliefs, and also find out what it is that you believed about yourself that probably wasn't true. What do you think is not good enough about yourself? Figure that out. Work on it. Get the solution and start now. By December, you need to be 10. I'm telling you, by the time 2025 applications come in, you are 10 steps ahead. I promise you. Because if you are entering in 2025 and you're only beginning training in 2025, you're very much too late. I don't believe in the concept of being too late, but that's just the reality of it is. You are definitely going to be too late. Start now in 2024. Start pushing out your content. Start with your advocacy now. Don't mention that you're joining Miss Namibia. Nobody cares about that. It's something that you're truly passionate about, right? So you don't need a big platform to push you to do that. Start with the resources that you have. Get your sponsors now. If you are able to, start now. By the time 2025 comes ahead, you are always 5 steps ahead. And even when the other girls are trying to catch up with you, they cannot, because you already started
way ahead.
Way back. So you'll be way ahead.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning and taking us into your world, your journey from 2020 to 2011 or one, and to where you're at now, and what it actually took you to get to where you're at. Because people sometimes feel like it's easy, you just need to look good and stuff like that. But it takes a lot to be crowned Miss Namibia, to be part of a pageant like that. So wish you all the best on your reign as Miss Namibia, and I'm sure you're going to make us extremely proud.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Stay tuned to the Morning Plug right here on 89 FM, the sounds of the router coming through on Focus.
Focus FM, radio for us.